Alright, so we have got the bottom attached and we're ready to go. We're going to set this aside for just a minute. We're going to grab both of our Zipper Gussets zipper tape. It's going to be the 34 3/4. Then you're going to have your zipper gusset pieces. You're going to have 2 of your outside and 2 of your lining pieces. Then we're also going to need 4 of our zippers. What we're going to do first is we're going to put a zipper on one end and then a zipper on the other end. If you don't want to do 2 zippers facing each other, you don't have to. I just feel like it kind of needs it, but it's up to you. So I'm going to put it on one end and to the other end, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other zipper tape. Alright, I had a few technical difficulties, but we got it. Alright, next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take one of your zipper tapes. We're going to do both of these at the same time, but we're going to do one at a time, if that makes any sense. We're going to take our outside of our piece, our zipper gusset. We're going to put it right side to the right side of our zipper, just right on top of each other. Then you're going to take your lining and put it wrong side to the right side of your lining. I am just going to take a clip like this so that I can walk it over to my sewing machine. You're going to do that to both of your zipper tapes. We're just going to do right side to the right side of your zipper, and then right side of your lining to the wrong side of your zipper. And then we're going to take it over to the sewing machine and sew those on. Alright, I have got my stitch length to a 3. We're going to be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to go all the way across and then back and all the way across again. We're going to do the same thing with both of these. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do might be a tiny bit tricky, so I'll do it a couple times so that you can tell what I'm doing. This top piece needs to go to the other end of our zipper. So make sure that you keep your zipper straight. So the right side of your zipper needs to go to the right side of your outer panel, your outer gusset. And if you need to, you can clip them together so that they'll stay together. So your zipper, you should see your zipper will be facing right side to right side. Just make sure that you haven't twisted it up or anything like that. So right side to right side. Then we're going to grab this lining right here, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to take my hand and push this down and bring this lining piece with the right side to the wrong side of my zipper. So I've got it facing out like this. I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to bring it together like that. It's going to look like a hot mess, but it should look like that. You'll see when I take it apart. It should flip out so that the outside vinyl is facing out, and you'll have both zippers coming out of each end of the vinyl. I'm going to do it again to show you guys. So let's go ahead and sew this one. Alright, so now I've got my other one. I'm going to find the other end of my zipper, and I've got right side of my zipper to right side of my zipper, and the right side of my zipper gusset is going to face the right side of my zipper. And I'm going to clip those together. Then I'm going to take this lining and take my hand and kind of push it out of the way so that my lining, spread it out like that, take your hand, push it down, make your lining go to the back side of your zipper. So the right side of your lining fabric should go to the back side of your zipper. And then we're going to sew those together. Alright, so I just went ahead and cut the 2 zippers apart. I'm going to set one aside for just a second. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take this and flip it so that the outside gusset is right side out. if you've done it right, it should look like that. Hopefully the written instructions, if this isn't clear, could possibly help you. I went ahead and put my stitch length back to a 4, and then I'm just going to base stitch the lining and the outside panels together. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to do that to both of your zipper gussets. You should have both of them base stitched together just like that. Alright, we have got our zippers all complete. They should be in a circle like that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold our back gusset, our back zipper gusset in half, and then you need to make little snips on each side so that you know where the center is. Then fold this in half and follow it over to the other side, and you need to make little snips in the zipper tape as well. I went ahead and I burnt my little snips so that I don't have to worry about them unraveling. Next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the snips that you just made and the snips in the back of your bag and put them together, and then find the center side, make snips, and then burn your zipper tape. Come back to the center, go to the other side, make snips, and burn your zipper tape. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get a lot of clips. We're going to put the right side of our zipper gusset to the right side of the very, very back of our bag. So where our back pocket is, we're going to put those right side to right side. And I'm just going to clip those together. Then you're going to find the snip on the very opposite side, and we're going to match up the front snip that we made, the center snip that we made on our bag. Then I'm going to find my side notch and match it to my side notch over here. And then match up my other side notch to my other side notch on this side. And then we're going to clip all the way around. It may feel tight in a couple of places, and that's what it needs to do so that it does the rest of the stuff that we need it to do later on. Just kind of move things around. I do sometimes take my vinyl and go in like that and then clip it. When you're going to sew it around, when you stitch, your sewing foot will kind of push the zipper down, and then as you go around, it'll straighten itself out. It works. I promise. Let's go to the sewing machine and sew this in. Went ahead and put my machine to a 4 stitch length. I'm going to start in the back of my bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around 1/4 of an inch just to kind of base stitch that zipper in place. Alright, see? The zipper came out the way that it did, and it did right. If you had made it any bigger, it probably would have kind of scrunched and you would have had bubbles. So that's why it needed to be kind of tight on there, so that once it was sewn, it would be straight and you wouldn't have that problem. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our finished lining. Now, for me, when I look into a bag, I want to make sure that the zipper is opening to the right and closing to the left. And how we're going to make sure that all of this fits correctly is put the back of the purse to the back of you, facing away from you. And then your lining needs to be facing you so that the zipper is opening to the right, closing to the left. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the right side of our bag, right here, and we are going to connect it to this side of the bag. We're going to connect our seam on this side to our notch over here and that on the side of our bag, and that's the first thing that we're going to do. So I'm going to take it just like that, and I'm going to match those notches up, and I'm going to put a clip there. I'm also going to put a couple of clips on each side of it just so that it will kind of stay in place while I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. You'll see that we're going to use our registration marks a lot on this because it makes sure that everything is straight. Now we're going to go to the opposite side. So our other side seam is going to go on the other side of our bag, meeting up those notches. And I'm going to make a couple of clips. Now we're going to go to either the front or the back. I think it's the front. Okay, so we're going to match up. You see this line right here that we made? I forgot to make a notch on this side, but I'm just going to match up from that line and kind of follow it down. This line to that line right there, our little notch to our line. And I'm going to make a clip. And then I'm going to do that on each side. If you want to and you feel better, go ahead and find the center of the front and the back and make a notch on the top of your lining. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to find the back center and put it to the center of the back of my bag and make a clip and then clip around it. Then last thing you do is just going to clip all the way around. Alright, now we're going to take it to the sewing machine. Alright, so this is going to be kind of hard to see, but this is what the bag looks like right now since we've got it clipped up. What you're going to have to do is take this very gently and kind of push it down out of the way as you're sewing. I'm going to back you guys up a little bit so hopefully you'll be able to see how I'm sewing it and be able to do it that way. I've got my stitch length at a 3 and hopefully you can see what I'm doing because right now you're too far away from me. Alright, so you're going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way. Yeah, you can see. Alright, so we're just going to go around, and if you want your zippers on the outside to be straight, you need to make sure that your fabrics are lining up on the edge and that you keep a consistent 1/4 inch. If you kind of weeble wobble around and you do kind of like a 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, and you kind of, you know how it is, your zipper is going to be kind of wobbly looking on the outside. So it's really important to keep a steady seam allowance all the way around. You know those bags that have a zipper on the very top? And if you've ever gotten kind of a wibbly wobbly zipper, that's why. Seam allowance is super important when you're doing zippers like that on a bag, because any variation you're going to do creates that wibbly wobbly seam and makes your zipper go funny. So it's not detrimental on this bag, but on the other bags that you see with the zippers on the top, that's why you get a wobbly zipper. Alright, so I'm going to finish this up real quick. Alright, so we've got our lining attached to our outer panel. The next thing that we're going to have to do is turn this inside out. Now, if you guys had seen my prototypes, you'd have been like, Faith! Alright, I made this hole gigantic in the bag because I was trying to help you guys out. The pocket isn't going to be too super deep, but it was just a means to an end. So I'm going to grab my outer panel and just kind of shove those corners in. And then everything needs to go through that zipper hole. So this is going to take me a minute. I'm just going to fast forward. Alright, now you want to go through, before you straighten up your lining, go through and straighten out your outer panel first, making sure that all your corners are out and all of that jazz first. Alright, now we can straighten up the rest of the bag. I'm going to go ahead and take my lining to my zipper and push it in. I'm not sewing it closed just yet. Also, this Peltex that's on the inside, it needs to stay up against the wall and then put your lining inside like that so that it's not out like that. We want, hopefully you can see that, you want the Peltex against the wall and then push your lining down. Alright, now you need to go around and push your lining in and just kind of finger press it all the way around. With the zipper being there, it makes it really difficult that you can't just like clip it down into place, which would be really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine and I am going to push it as I go, making sure that my outside panel is pushed away from the zipper and my lining is pushed away from the zipper, and then we'll all be top stitched. If you want, you can kind of press down on the bottom of your lining. That'll help kind of like force it down. So let's go back to the sewing machine. Alright, so we have got our stitch length at a 4. I'm going to go ahead and top stitch all the way around. I'm going to start in the back, and then you just need to do an 1/8 of an inch top stitching and make sure that you're pulling your lining in, and then your outside fabric should be pulled away from your zipper as well. And just make sure that you're consistent with your seam allowance, especially when you're going across the front. I have a hard time with consistency. I'm consistently inconsistent sometimes. Alright, when you get to your D-rings, push them back out of the way. And then with my needle down, I'm going to pull my zippers out of the way, and now I don't have to worry about them the rest of the way around the bag. Alright, so we are all top stitched all the way around. Before you go any further, if you want to, you could put a rivet right here so that the handle stays nice and close to the body. I didn't do that because I want the zippers to be able to kind of free flow, and when we were putting it together, I didn't want this to kind of get in the way. If you want to put a rivet in there now, you can. It's up to you. Now we've got our back zipper pocket. We need to fold that under 1/4 of an inch and then clip it together on each side, and then we need to sew this closed. And the bottom half of your bag is pretty much done. I've got a 3 stitch length, and then you're just going to have to kind of pull the top out of the way so that you don't accidentally sew it, and then you're just going to sew straight across. Alright, so we've got this all sewed up. The next thing you want to do is just kind of push it down, and I'm making sure that my Peltex is towards the back and not the front. I'm just kind of feeling with my hands. If you want, before you close this up, you could just make sure that the Peltex is where it's supposed to be so that it stays where it's supposed to be. Alright, there we go. Now, we're going to set this aside for just a minute,